This presentation covers user recertification in the FACES reporting platform for NTD users. We will provide a basic overview of this feature, discuss the step-by-step process for recertifying users, and review what may happen in the event a user is not certified on time. The user recertification process is a new feature for the FACES system. FACES represents the Federal Access Control and Entry System and is the online reporting module used by NTD and TRAMS. All persons who submit annual or monthly reports to either of these modules must do so by logging into FACES. User recertification is a system enhancement for this platform, introduced during the NTD Report Year 2018. Please note that this training resource is specific to the NTD module and does not include guidance for TRAMS functions. The purpose of recertifying users is to verify that every individual user account registered in the reporting platform has valid system access, as well as the correct user roles. This allows for added security to the FACES platform to stay in compliance with federal cybersecurity regulations. What happens once a user is certified? Recertification allows the user to continue accessing the FACES system with their expected permissions. If a user is not certified, their level of access to the system will be restricted. We will discuss this process in detail shortly. All users must be certified by a designated authority in the reporting system. The certification hierarchy is structured as such. FTA personnel have the highest level of certification abilities. FTA first certifies NTD validation analysts. The analysts will then certify all user managers at the transit agency level. The user managers may then certify all other users at their agency who require system access. We will use the term approvers to describe any party that is responsible for certifying the users below them. For example, NTD analysts are the approvers for agency user managers. The recertification cycle occurs annually, so users must be recertified each report year. Approvers must recertify their users within a preset timeframe called the recertification window. The recertification window is the time period for approvers to recertify the users for whom they have certification responsibilities. For NTD user managers, the window parallels the time frame agencies have to work on the annual NTD report after their fiscal year ends. For example, let's say your agency operates on the calendar year, so the last day of the fiscal year is December 31st. All agencies have 4 months following their fiscal year end to complete and submit their annual NTD report, so the finalized report would be due on April 30th of the next year. Your agency's user managers would have between January 1st and April 30th to recertify their users as well as complete the NTD report. The user managers would have been certified by the analysts prior to January 1st. Let's take a look at how this process works in the reporting system. For users who have recertification privileges, such as user managers, the option to do so is located under the Actions tab. User managers may select Recertify Users to prompt a list of users who are eligible for recertification. Please note that users do not have to request recertification in order to appear on this list. Their names will automatically populate once their recertification window begins. Select a user to open more details regarding their user information. The user manager will have the option to manage the user's roles, since verifying the correct role for NTD reporting is a major component of recertifying the user. If the user does not require a role change, the user manager can simply select Certify in order to complete the process. If the user does require some role change, the user manager can complete these functions prior to recertifying the user. The process to update user roles under this menu consists of the same steps to update user roles at any other time in the report year. The user manager must delete any outdated roles before assigning the new role. If you have user manager privileges for multiple agencies, Then you see all users for each of those agencies listed in the list of users who need recertification. You would be able to recertify each of these users. User managers are not required to certify every user in the list. For example, perhaps one of the users has retired or otherwise left the agency and no longer requires NTD system access. A user may have also been transferred to a new position within the agency and is no longer responsible for completing the NTD report. The user manager may opt not to recertify the user and allow the user's recertification window to expire. The certification window for users is only open for a certain period of time. What happens if a user is not certified within the window? Before the window expires, the approver will receive a reminder email to recertify the user 14, 7, and 1 day in advance. Once the window has expired and the user is not recertified, the system will lock the user's account. A user's access to the system becomes restricted as a result of the system locking the user. Users will not be able to access the NTD report package, the transit agency's profile, or other critical functions of the reporting system as long as their accounts are locked. In the Appian platform, a user account can become locked for two reasons. As we discussed, a user can become locked out of the system if the user was not recertified on time by their user manager. The other reason a user can become locked is due to inactivity, which means the user did not log into the system for more than 60 days. In the event a user is locked due to inactivity, if the user is eligible for recertification, the user manager can still recertify the user as normal. Note that this does not affect the user's locked status. Even after being recertified by the user manager, the inactive user will still need to be unlocked separately. The locked user can either self-unlock by answering his or her security questions, or the user can submit an unlock request to the user manager. On the other hand, if a user is locked due to the recertification window expiring, the user cannot self-unlock via the security questions. The user manager must recertify the user in order to restore the user's system access. In this instance, when the user is recertified, that will automatically unlock their account since the reason the account was locked in the first place was due to recertification. Let's take a look at how this process would work in the system. If a user is locked due to recertification, the user would navigate to Actions, then Unlock My Account. Notice that the option to unlock via security questions is grayed out. A user cannot self-unlock an account by answering security questions if they are locked due to recertification. The only option for the user is to request to be unlocked by the agency's active user manager. After submitting the request, the user manager would navigate to the Actions tab, then review unlock requests in order to approve the user's request. Note that locked users may only submit the unlock request once. If the user attempts to send a second consecutive request, the system will notify the user that the original request is still pending. In the event a user manager opts to reject the user's unlock request, the user manager would enter a brief comment into the text description box, then select Reject. The locked user would receive an email notification informing them that their unlock request was rejected by the user manager. If the user wishes to dispute the rejection, the user would have to contact the user manager for further discussion. Otherwise, the user will simply remain locked and uncertified until the lock period expires. If a user is not recertified within their certification window, their account becomes locked for 14 days. If a user's account is not certified after this period, the system will deactivate the user's account altogether, removing all of their agency roles and prohibiting access to NTD or TRAMS-related agency profiles. Once a user is deactivated, he or she cannot access the reporting system at all. Note that deactivation is a separate status from being locked out. When a user is locked out, the user can still log into the system with restricted access. When a user is deactivated, they cannot log into the system at all. User managers can reassign roles to deactivated users as a means of reactivating them if needed. This may be the case if the recertification unlock was neglected for 2 weeks or if the user was erroneously deactivated. Some users in the NTD system have user roles on multiple agency profiles, for example, state DOT personnel. This means there are multiple user managers who have to recertify that user's role on their agency profiles, and in most cases, the user managers would not have any direct contact with one another. What happens if some of the user's roles are certified, but not all of them? Let's say the editor role for Agency 1 and the viewer role for Agency 2 were both certified on time by the agency's respective user managers. However, the user manager for Agency 3 did not certify the user's role within the recertification window. In this instance, the system would not lock this user out because he has been partially certified within the window. Instead, the system would remove all of the user's uncertified roles from his user account. This means the user would have continued access to transit agencies 1 and 2, but would not be able to access the reports for Agency 3 until that user manager re-established his roles. If you have any questions about user recertification processes, please refer to the FACES user guide posted on the NTD homepage. You may also contact your agency's assigned NTD validation analyst for further guidance. If your analyst is unavailable or if you require immediate technical assistance, please contact the NTD Help Desk line.